Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going over my approach to getting my work out there. I mentioned before, probably a couple weeks ago, that I'm changing my approach to how I promote and market my work. The majority of the time, I was going through or marketing through social media channels. I've built up my profiles from Facebook and Instagram to TikTok and Pinterest. I've spent a lot of time posting and posting and posting, and I found that you really don't get a lot of organic traffic, or I really don't get a lot of organic traffic unless traffic has to come in or comes in when I pay for boosting a post. And even then, the market that I would target, I still wasn't getting the right responses. So a couple weeks ago, it was probably 2 weeks ago, I talked about having my marketing be more effective. And one of the things I did jump into as well is having my work in House and Garden magazine. The second issue just released a couple days ago. I think it was on Thursday. So I paid for 3 issues to have one of my prints in there in the art section. So that led to quite a few responses, but not the type of responses that I was hoping for. For the most part, it's been a lot of scam emails. It's been a lot of um, publications wanting me to advertise in their magazines. And it's brought in some traffic so far, but not the numbers that I was hoping for. So I paid for a 3 month campaign. So we're in June now. So it was May was the first issue. Now we're in June. This is the second issue. And in July, it's going to be the final issue for House and Garden magazine. And this is the UK branch. Once that's over, my focus is going to switch to other ways, like I said, of getting attention, getting more viewers, more conversions to the studio. So I brought up CodaWorks, and I was working with them more closely in the past, like years ago, actually. And then I completely forgot about my profile. But what I want to do differently is I want to begin promoting to organizations um, and businesses who are actively looking for work, for artwork, instead of opposed to me just like boosting an Instagram post and trying to grab people's attention. I'm shifting to people who are actively looking for work and they want submissions. They're looking for submissions. So obviously, that takes away one of the roadblocks where I'm looking for people who are looking for work through social media. I'm actually coming to websites like CodaWorks, and they have listings of companies, organizations who are looking for artists. instead of me looking for people like them. So it's basically reversing the roles here. But they have a project board, design board. There's an about page on here. My profile, I've got what, 87% completion. But the thing is that I had my work on here, just this project here that's published. Now here's the thing. CodaWorks is more for public art. So if you have especially sculpture or if you create murals, then they'd be perfect for you. For me, it's a little bit more challenging because all of my work is photography. I don't do anything in terms of sculptures or murals. So when you post a project on here, they want to see your work out in the world. So the best thing for me is to add my gallery exhibitions here. So whatever pictures that I have for when my work was on exhibit, I would add that to my profile. And then people who are organizations, businesses, whoever comes looking for work, they can see me in the directory and look at my work actually being out there hanging on the walls. So I've only got one here so far, and I started looking at this profile a few days ago and realized that even though this profile has been here for years, I was not showing up in the directory because I had a free profile. So in order for your work to actually show up in the creative directory and actually for people to be able to find you in their network, you have to have a paid membership. So up here at the top, let's see if I can zoom in here. You'll see membership up there. So that's where you'll come down here and you'll look at their fees. Okay. So this is where I was. I was a free member. And so directory listing, you get a basic listing. Um, you get to showcase 3 projects. So you upload 3 projects of your work wherever it is. And excuse me. Now, this is the thing that I was missing, the live profile and promoted search. So underneath the free tier, your work is not live. Like you're the only one who can see your profile, basically. So you have to upgrade to the basic plus at least in order for your profile to become live in the network and be promoted in the search engines for CodaWorks. And then obviously there are other features and benefits and stuff that they have. But if you're just starting out and you just want to give something like this a try, um, annually, if you want to pay for the entire year for Basic Plus, it's $300. If you want to pay it month to month for the entire year, it's going to be $30 a month, I believe. So you save $60 a year by paying for the whole year up front. If you want to go month to month, every year it's going to cost you $360. Now, this one is the Pro, which they recommend um, per year. If you pay up front for a year, is 600. If you want to pay it monthly, it's going to be $720 for that entire year. And with the Pro version, they let you have 30 projects on here. You get a free Coda Awards entry. Let's see, registration discount on features, LG Gallery Plus participation, which is, you know how Everyone has a smart TV. So if you get an LG smart TV, there's an art gallery that you can have as a slideshow on your TV. Because especially if you get an OLED screen TV, you don't want the image to be static, right? Because especially with the OLED TVs, they're easier. It's much easier for those to have burn in, so you'll get the image stuck on the screen. So what you want to do is, if you have the TV on, you can just have artwork, a slideshow of artwork, just always running. And a lot of folks like this because you get these giant 65-inch screens, if not bigger than that. You just don't want this black rectangle on your wall. It takes up a lot of space. So you'd rather have artwork running on it. So it makes the space, more beautiful. Um, it's less boring because the screen is not just sitting up there blank. And also you get to stay away from having that burn in. Um, so there's that. But yeah, they have I guess it's some type of contract. Let me see if I can get Pro and Premium members can submit images and videos of their work for consideration to be included in the LG Gallery Smart TV streaming app, curated by CodaWorks, and LG Electronics. Participating artists can earn residual income based on streaming volume. So basically, like I just upgraded my TV. Um, you can select packages of work. So a couple of them I have a nature package, I have a black and white photography package, I have like a scenery one, landscape, but you can have packages of artwork or photographs. And the more people that select your work, then the more you make, you get residual income from that. So that's definitely an option there. And what else is there? You have the CodaWorks YouTube channel. Um, all paying, let's see, all paying CodaWorks members can submit videos of their work for consideration to be included in the CodaWorks YouTube channel. You get e-commerce prints. Members are eligible to participate in the e-commerce prints partner program. Prints are sourced through UniEck Corporation of Wisconsin and have a wide range of customizable options. I have not looked into that yet, but once you have the basic plus version, then you'll have access to that as well. Um, so yeah, it just depends on how much, do you want to spend per month on this. So I'm going to start with the 6 projects, um, and see how it goes. And also take another look at the subscriptions I'm paying for, looking at what I want to keep, what I want to get rid of. But I think at this point, I've already gotten rid of a lot of stuff. So I think now it's just depending on, okay, it just depends on what else do I want to invest in, since the social media marketing part of it, I'm really like pulling back on that heavily and looking at things like this and saying, okay, build relationships with these organizations or um, art residencies, build relationships with them because they are actively looking for artists' work all the time. Um, and so that'll make, you know, my budget for this more efficient. So it's not just like throwing money up against the wall and hoping that you get the right, you reach the right people. And the other, um, the other website I'm looking at. I'm already a part of this one too. This is Artwork Archive. I've had my work up here for a while, but I finally updated the profile a bit more, but I mean, obviously, I can fill it out much more than it is, but this is pretty similar. So here is their guide. They come out with a guide every month, really, about opportunities. So if you look in this area, you've got grants, awards, residencies, education, exhibitions, competition, open calls. These are all places looking for artists' work, right? And then you can click on, if you don't want to pay for entry fees, you click on that and it narrows everything down, right? It narrows everything down. Now, even if you find something that has no entry fee, make sure you read the fine print, right? Because some of them will say there's no entry fee until, well, there's no entry fee unless your work is accepted. Some of them have no entry fee up front, but if your work is accepted, there may be a fee that comes along with that. So make sure you always pay attention to the fine print. Um, but yeah, you just scroll through and you look at, especially pay attention to the eligibility. If it's national, if it's local to a state, local to a region of the country, or local to a country. Um, like this one says eligibility national, right? But look at the location, it's in Australia. So when they say national, it's not the United States national, it's Australia national. So those are the types of things that you have to pay attention to. And then the other thing, this art fair, right? No problem. But the category is film, video, or new media. So that means that you can't send them photography or acrylic paintings or something like that. That's not what they're looking for, it seems like. So anything that's digital, film, video, um, that seems like that's what they're looking for this one. So yeah, and this one has 150 sterling screening fee. That's weird. Yeah, I think there's still a fee for this one, even though I have no entry fee checked. So yes, just really go through them, look at the details, and make sure that you're spending your time submitting your work or sending an inquiry to the correct opportunity. You really don't want to build a reputation of not, well, submitting the wrong type of work, not following all of the rules, eligibility requirements, that type of thing. You'll really get on people's nerves with that. And if words start spreading about that with your injuries, then yeah, that's not good. So that's to say, like, if you want your work to be accepted, you give yourself a better chance by following all of the details and everything here. So, but they have plenty of stuff, plenty of stuff, and then also you pay attention to the deadline. This is 3 days left. Application has to be in by June 10th. Um, Obviously, I would say don't wait till the last minute to apply to something that you really want to submit your work to. And if you are late, you can look for. Sometimes they have extensions onto the deadlines, but it's better to get your application or your inquiry in as soon as possible. because that gives them more time to look at your work. If you're always submitting your work within the last 48 to 72 hours, it just doesn't give them a lot of time to look at your work before they have to look at everybody's work, um, who has applied. So, and let's see, the other thing with the residency, you have to make sure that you are able to participate within that residency and understand how long the residency is. And if you're working on a day job apart from your studio work, you have to take time off from your day job in order to, be on the residency for a month or 2 months or 3 months, however long it is. So you have to keep all of that in mind. I think the other thing too is style, the style of your work. So if I'm looking at this, the style of my work does not fit because this looks like is very traditional. The frames are ornate. The little bit of this art piece that I can see, this is really traditional work. My work is more modern contemporary. So if you go to this website and all of the work that they're showing is traditional in style, but your work is modern contemporary in style, yes, you can still submit your work, but your chances of your the chances of your work being accepted are really slim because your work just doesn't fit into their collection as a whole. So you basically have to find places who have something close to what your style is to better your chances of, having your work being selected. So yeah, look at their website, look at their inventory, um, to have a better idea of what type of work they're looking for. Oh, and the other thing that I will say that I made a mistake on before is when you are just sending your work out to galleries, it would be better if you were able to attend the gallery, the galleries, the exhibits opening, all of that, to be able to meet the viewers and everyone coming in, potential art collectors. It's better that you're able to attend. So if you can submit your work locally or in state or in states surrounding you, so that you can be able to drive or travel um, to the opening, and just if the exhibit is 3 weeks or a month, you'll be able to periodically come in and be there to talk about your work and answer any questions that people may have. That's a really good thing, to be able to do, because you just build that. It's easier to build that relationship with people you don't know and people who don't know about your work when you're actually there, for them to meet you and you can talk with them and they can ask all their questions and whatnot. So I think my first residency was it was in Switzerland, and so I wasn't able to attend the opening. Um, and I had multiple exhibitions there throughout that year, but I wasn't able to attend any of them because it was overseas, and I couldn't afford it. So eventually, what ends up happening is when you're it's like out of sight, out of mind. So when you're not there for people to interact with, the people who are there, the artists who are there, their work gets more attention because they are present to talk about it with everyone who visits. So um, moving forward, that's really what I'm leaning towards. But if you want to join Artwork Archive, the pricing is up here. Um, yeah, so this is artworkarchive.com and this is slash pricing. You'll see the packages here. Now they don't have a free version. They give you the first 14 days free, and then after that, to continue on, you have to pay for apprentice, professional, or master. And it's $9 if you pay annually. So it'll be 9 times 12. If you want to pay monthly, it's $10 a month. For professional, if you want to pay monthly, it's $21. And for master, it's $42 a month if you want to pay monthly. And they do shave off a little bit per month if you want to pay for the entire year in advance. They give you a little bit of a discount there. But I have the apprentice tier right now where I get to post up to 100 pieces. This is tracking where your work is actually on exhibit, so you get 10 locations and then you get a single user. So I guess if you're a part of a studio of an artist, then only one person would be able to access this profile from the apprentice tier. And then there's professional, you get 500 pieces, 50 locations, it's still a single user. And then you've got income expense tracking, track proposals through to the final sale. You get private rooms, integrations plus embed. Payment processing sounds pretty interesting. So when you go to your website, you will be able to have, I guess, like a PayPal button on here, like a buy now button on this. So there's an inquire button over here, purchase, share. So there's that. And then there's document storage, upload files to your entire collection or for particular pieces, contacts, locations, exhibitions, sales, and more. So all your business documents can get stored onto their server. And then there's all the extra stuff down here. QR codes, very nice. And then there's other artists on here. So yes, I'm gonna look at how much more I want to spend between artworkarchive.com and the codaworks.com. I have to look at how much more I want to spend and just make sure that I manage my budget, um, or continue to manage my budget as well as I can. But these are the types of opportunities that I'm looking into, not only for the rest of this year, but just for moving forward. But yeah, I would say overall, as I mentioned in the beginning, it's been frustrating because like I had the marketing campaign in the UK, in the UK magazine, and I started getting scam messages in different languages, like in German. So that was like the first thing that started popping up is the scam emails became more of a global international thing of now my work is exposed to more people in Europe. And so now people who are trying to um, take advantage of artists like from over there, they're starting to show up in my email messages. So um, do I even want to give an example of this? Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. Here's one. And I think this is more in the US. Let me pull this one up. I don't recognize the country code NG, but this was Wednesday, May 27. Um, this is classic scam attempt. Typically, they do have a Gmail account. Name is Palace, reaching out from Cleveland. My wife and I are approaching our wedding anniversary. I've got the wedding anniversary inquiry several times. Currently searching for meaningful artwork to present to her as a special gift. I came across your work and was truly impressed by your artistry and creative expression. I'd be interested in acquiring one or more available pieces. Now, here's a red flag especially. Could you kindly share images of your works currently available for immediate or near immediate purchase, along with their sizes and prices? My budget ranges between $1,000 and $8,000. Additionally, please let me know if you accept payment by check. That's another flag, red flag. So there's a few things. Even if you want to ignore this first paragraph, the problem is he's emailing me through my Shopify store. So if you've been to my Shopify store, you know that the work is clearly on sale. The sizes of each piece is right there. The everything's there. So he came to the website, he looked at the work, right? Came to the website, looked at the work, and then he starts asking me, what are the sizes, which are right here. Sizes are right here, prices are right here. Everything's here already. So he came to the site, he clicked on the contact, came to the contact page, and he starts asking me which pieces are available, what's their price, what's their sizes, but he's telling me that he's looked at the work and he really likes it. It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. But I get emails like this a lot, and like I said, they just start spreading to the like to the European market now. And then you look at the budget. So this is what they want to do is they're gonna order between $1,000 and $8,000 worth of artwork, and then they're gonna send me a check for it, and then I'm gonna take the check to the bank and try to cash it, and the check is not gonna be valid. So typically what happens if you go through a website like Singular Art, you ship the work first, right? The the buyer, the collector pays but the money sits in escrow. You ship the work with insurance and everything, and then they have 7 to 14 days to return the work. And once that 7 to 14 days is over, then the work is released out of escrow into your account as the artist, right? So if you join um, a platform like that, where you post your work on the platform, people come to the platform, they order the work, their payment sits in escrow, you have to pay for the printing, the shipping, the insurance up front, right? Now, once the money is released out of escrow, it's going to cover the shipping, insurance, etc. But you have to front that as the artist first, and that's how it works on their site. And for me, I didn't want to do that, especially for the amount of work that I have. Like I have almost 300 photographs available in inventory. So if I work through a platform like that, I'm only going to offer a limited amount of prints through them, just so it's less of a headache for me to manage it, right? But what I do on my website is this is all print on demand. So they show up, the collectors come to the site, they pick out what they want, or I just added the wish list on here where they can just click on the heart. They can keep a list of the types of prints that they like, or they can come down here, add it to cart, or they can go through their shop account, and then there's more payment options here. But they buy it directly on the site. Now, again, especially with the postcards, greeting cards, and then there's the pack of 10, I pay the fees up front still, right? But I don't have to wait, was it 7 to 14 days for the funds to be released? So from through my site, Shopify holds the funds initially, right? Um, Shopify holds the funds, and then I have an account only for orders, right? Because I have to pay the distributor immediately. You know what I mean? I have to pay the distributor immediately. So when orders come in, I have an account specifically for paying the distributor up front. So let's say right now it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I know it's weird, but order comes in, I get a notification on the phone that you got a sale. And then I can go to my business account, one of my business accounts, and I can see how much the base price is for that particular order, and that's what I'm going to get charged. And that includes shipping and whatnot. So that's what I get. And so that gets paid off by me right away, immediately. And then a few days later, Shopify releases the funds that the customer paid, and that goes into my business account to cover for, not only it covers the base price that I pay for the shipping, insurance, whatever, it also pays me as the artist in terms of profit. So from the postcards, greeting cards, the wall art, all of it works like that. So you really do have to be prepared for that type of stuff. And I want to avoid having to wait for people to send me a paper check. I just, no checks, no money orders, because both of those have, I've gotten both of those in before, like years ago now, and they turned out to be fake. And it happened not all the time, but to the point where I was like, okay, um, I'm not going to be accepting these checks like this. So I get requests like that a lot. People don't want to go through the website to pay for the artwork. They want to, is what's the word, circumvent the entire process on Shopify and just send me the money directly through, like I say, check or money order. And I'm just like, no, no. Or they will say that they like the work and they want to buy it as a non, like a NFT, a non, was it, non fungible token. And I'm like, no, I don't sell my work as like digital assets. I don't. The closest thing that I have with that is the downloads. So if you come to the digital access section, I have downloads, and these are basically downloads for your phone. So this one helps with the branding, and it's actually free. These are like $3.50 a piece, and you just get the JPEG sent to you, whatever email you enter when it's purchased. And yeah, it's just another way to do it. So this, I want to have probably 15 to 20 available, if not a few more. But those are the types of things that I look at when I'm getting inquiries about my work. The other thing that I got, when was this? Oh, the past this month. So, I'm sorry, I'm going to show two more. This one was on my birthday, which was June 3rd. Hey, are you currently able to ship orders to Los Angeles? Again, another Gmail account. I, yeah, okay, so here's the thing. If you respond to an email like this, it'll go into the same thing of, okay, I want to send you a check or a money order, and I want you to send the work to such and such an address. Are you okay with that? They're going to ask me, am I okay with that? And of course I'm not. I literally set up my website so that I don't have to go through those types of interactions. That's just what it is. I'm serious. I literally set up my website so I don't have to go through those types of interactions. You come to the site, you decide what you want to order, you click on the add to cart, it, you know, it goes over here, and let me take off the bar, and you're able to check out. There we go. You're able to check out, and that's it. And I don't. And when the order comes in, it goes directly to the distributor. The distributor sees the buyer's address. It ships it out. Distributor does the shipping. The only thing that I have to do is if the buyer returns the product, the print, and then I have the the local address for that they get the returns. And so that would be this address here. But if the order goes through smoothly, I don't have to do anything with it. And it took me so long to automate all of this. Um, and when I first thought about doing this, I didn't have the capability to do it because the distributor didn't sync with Shopify. Um, but now the distributor I work with, well, both of them, um, they sync with Shopify really well. The orders go through like they're supposed to. Um, I mean, it goes smoothly. The only thing that throws me is if the shipping rate changes or goes up to what, because it's set in in the Shopify system, um, or in the distributor system, it's set. So if it ends up being higher with the shipping rate than what's already in the system, I have to cover that extra cost. And so that's why I look over the numbers, and just make sure that the shipping rates match. And if I need to make an adjustment in the shipping rate because the shipping costs have gone higher, then I can do that in Shopify manually. Um, yeah. So, all right. So the birthday week sale that I had up here, the timer has expired. It's over. I think I ran it for almost a week. So, yeah, the sale ended on yesterday at midnight. So it ended almost 2 hours ago. And I had shop by price tier. Now, the price tier, as I mentioned before, is, let me go back. It just gives people, Walmart tiers, it gives people an idea of the pricing. So depending on where their budget is, that's where they can start. So if you say you're at the very last tier, 11, $80. So all of these are, in terms of wall art, that's where they are. And then the other inexpensive option is the greeting cards and the postcards. So that's another inexpensive option if the wall art is too high. But yeah, for the wall art, I am using the high gloss paper, which is it's pretty expensive, but it's awesome. The color is awesome. The With the high gloss, you just get that colors. The color saturation is very nice. So once I tested it out, I didn't want to go back to the cheaper version. Yeah, and the Fuji Flex high gloss, it leans towards like a warm color tone. Um, which for the most part works on all of my prints that I have available. So if I was to add another paper type, it would probably I would probably have to go with Fuji, the Crystal Archive. Yeah, the Fuji Crystal Archive. I would probably have to go with that one. It's like half the cost, but it just on some prints it's fine, and then some prints I'm really picky about the color tone. It's noticeable. Um, the Crystal Archive is more of a cooler color tone, so it's more blue than the high gloss. And like I say, sometimes that's fine, and then sometimes it's like, mm-mm. So anything that is limited edition, I'm not gonna even think about putting that on the Crystal Archive paper. Yeah, because I tested out Vane and with the Crystal Archive paper, and it just was too blue. And when you have that blue mixed in with red, it starts turning purple, and that's really not what I wanted to see. So you want to get the color as accurate as possible to what you see on the screen. And if you pick the wrong type of paper, it's gonna throw the color off. I think another one that does that is I think it's pronounced Baryta. The Baryta paper is very thick, heavy paper, amazing quality. It's even more expensive than the high gloss Fujiflex, but it has a yellow color tone in the paper itself. So when you buy just the paper without a print on it, you will see a yellow color tone on the paper itself. So when they put the ink, your work on that paper, it's gonna start mixing in with all the yellow color tone. Like I said, the Crystal Archive for Fuji is a blue. It leans more blue, and then the Fuji Flex High Gloss that I'm using, it leans more warm, like a red color. So that doesn't bother me. Like the warmer color doesn't bother me as much as the cooler color tone does. I do think that with black and white, you have to be careful because even though it's like people think black and white, there's no like color doesn't affect it. All colors have a tone, like tonality to it. So you can change the color tone of black and white prints still in editing, and it will drastically change the lighting um, of your photograph. And that would actually be a good topic to go into because I'm already running up against an hour for this episode. And I try not to go over an hour on these, but absolutely, you can have um, a black and white, and you can change the color tone on it, and it's going to drastically change the lighting on the print, just drastically. So that's to say, if you print this black and white on the Crystal Archive paper, the high gloss paper, the Baryta paper, the the lighting is gonna be different across the board. It's just gonna be different because the color tone in each one of those papers is different So again, that's going to affect how even the black and white photographs look. Um, I am thinking about going back to the Moab exhibition paper. Yeah, the Moab exhibition luster paper is very, very, very good. It's not high gloss. It's more of a, it's not even glossy. It's like a semi-gloss. But the luster is really good. The paper is heavy, but it's not, um, it doesn't have that yellow color tone to it. So if you're looking for like a heavier paper without the yellow color tone and it's got that sharpness to the print like the high gloss, but not without actually being high gloss, the Moab is really good, but that paper is not available from my current distributor that I go through. I would have to order that independently for everything from the printer in California. They have it. And I went to their site last week. It's very confusing how to even select the options. So I downloaded their software and it still acts weird, which is why I don't use that printer anymore because it's just you really have to know and need consistency on the quality of the prints. And the printer I was using before was just very inconsistent. They were less expensive than my current printer, but just the prints that they were sending um, was too inconsistent. Samples I was ordering inconsistent. Um, I had problems with especially compression, which is like a digital or photographic manipulation that I have. That one was coming out with hints of just strong hints of red in it, and could never figure out what was going on with that. So um, I tried ordering some Moab luster samples from them, and I couldn't get my work into the software correctly. And I didn't have the patience to figure out. I didn't have the patience to figure out how to get it to work. Um, in order for me to order samples of that paper, but yeah, I'm thinking that there are some other options there. Um, but yeah, that is all that I have. Um, and like I mentioned before, I think along with talking to people face to face, working with organizations who are actually looking for work, I think that's going to be more effective in terms of return on investment moving forward because they're actively looking. From what I've seen so far, is that wherever I've marketed my work, people aren't really, not enough people are really actively looking for my style of work. So, what'll be easier for me to do is to submit my work to these organizations as an inquiry. And if they're interested in the work, then I pay for, the prints and the shipping and things like that. Um, but that doesn't happen until they say, hey, we want XYZ, you know. And so I know exactly um, how much I need to spend on the print, framing, if they want the acrylic panel or not, um, that type of thing. And then the return on investment is already going to be there. It's just baked into it because they want, the work. So it's a matter of getting the work out there. The other thing that I really need to do before I go is in terms of community, there's a lot of photographers that are doing what I want to do, but they're a lot further ahead than I am. So I have to figure out how to find where they go in terms of community, like what events they attend, what organizations are they a part of, and I haven't really jumped into that very much because my work is not like, especially this one, like my work is not inspired by other photographs. My work is inspired by painting, but, and that's what I've been around more so than anything else when I go to galleries and things like that is everyone else's medium is something different from photography. It's either painting or it's sculpture or it's mixed media. And that's where I get my inspiration from. But when I'm talking about my work, it's photography. And so I'm thinking, okay, well, and I've done this years ago, like tried to be more involved in the photography side of this, but their work is just not, it's not to say it's bad. Of course it's good work, but it doesn't really inspire me to create something. Um, because a lot of times when I'm talking with other photographers, they're very technical, like very, very technical. And I'm not. I'm not. I know how the camera works in general, but a lot of times I'll be talking to another professional photographer and they're like, "Did you move a half stop or did you move the shutter a quarter stop? Did you go a full stop?" And I'm like, I don't know. I I know if I want a shallow depth of field, I need to open up my aperture to like f4, if not wider. I know if I want to freeze something that's moving really fast, I kick up my shutter speed pretty darn high without burying my ISO. Like I know how everything works, but they are like on another level of pinpoint everything on the dot. And I'm not that. Um, but the crazy thing is that they will ask me how did I how did I photograph something, and I'll tell them, okay, this was my shutter speed, this was my aperture, this was my ISO, um, this was my focal length. I have all that information. I see all that information. I know how all that information works. But if they ask me to say, okay, take the shutter speed up a full stop or a half stop or a quarter stop, and I'm like, I don't know that part of it, how that part breaks down, um, which has sort of kept me from wanting to teach because I have a lot of, well, not a lot, but there have been quite a few who have asked me, like, how do you do XYZ? And I just feel like a lot of photographers would be better because they're more technically sound. Um, because a lot of beginning photographers, they'll ask you like, did you go a full stop? Did you go half stop? Did you go quarter? Because you're supposed to sync your shutter with your aperture with your ISO, which I do, but not based on calculation. I do it based on the feel. So when people are asking you, how do you do this based on calculation? I don't go by calculation, I go by feel. So for example, if I take what's a really good one that, and I know I said I was going to be quiet, but I'm going to go Piers End. This is feel, right? So here's the thing. The sun is going down, like the sun is like almost on, like almost below the horizon line. So I know that I have to open up my aperture all the way. So the widest I can open my aperture to the camera is a 4. So I go f4. You have to slow the shutter speed down, but you don't want to slow it down too much because you don't want, I didn't want this, the the entire thing to be blurry. Um, and then you have to kick your ISO up, but you can't do it too much because then it's gonna the scene's gonna be grainy. Like you kick your ISO, like if I'm on my camera and I'm at ISO 800, I know good and well it's gonna be grainy. It's gonna be grainy. So I try to keep my ISO 640 at maximum. Um, so what does that mean? So ISO, try not to take it above 640. The aperture, I can't go any, I can't open it up any wider than the f4. Um, so that means that my shutter speed, that becomes the variable that I go by. Okay, how slow can I make the shutter speed without the image being blurry? Because especially when you're outside, you have a lot, you have, and it's windy, you got the wind blowing. It depends on where your tripod is. Are you on steady ground or not? Are you trying to handheld it? Are you trying to mount the camera on a rock or something? Like, you know what I mean? It's just so I'm technical enough, but again, it's not as precise as a normal teacher or professor would be. So, um, but again, this is one of the prints that other photographers come to me and ask like, how did you how did you get this? Because normally what happens when you don't have enough sunlight like this and you're not I cannot stand using flash on a camera. Even the external, I can't stand it. So it's rough. It's rough to keep the ISO low enough that the photograph's not grainy. Um, it's rough to do, but once you find that sweet spot on there, then you can capture something really good. And then the other problem with this image too is that, or the challenge was, once the sun gets on the horizon, it goes pretty quickly. So shortly after I captured this photo, it was pitch black outside, and I had to use my the flashlight on my phone to find my way back to the car. Um, but yeah, I drove to a part of Jacksonville where it's just out in the middle of nothing, and But you can get some good photographs out there. It's a drive. It's a drive. But I used to work out. I used to have my day job out in Fernandina Beach, and on the way back to Jacksonville, I would pass by that park every day. And one day I just decided to stop before the sun went completely down and see what I could capture. So it was nice. It was nice. But you guys will have to tell me um, if that can work in terms of my approach, because that would be my approach in teaching. Is that you have to figure out your equipment first, because if you have a Nikon brand, your ISO can go well above 640 and you'll be fine. I have a Canon. The Canons, they're not as good with the high ISO to me, the one that I have. Now the Mark III, and I think now they're on the Mark IV, they should be better with the high ISOs, but for mine, I have a Mark II. I've just seen too many with the high ISOs. You get to 800, don't even mention 1,000 for your ISO. I mean, you have to take the noise down um, in editing. So you really have to be careful with that. So I'm going to hopefully have to add to my to-do list is tomorrow go to Barnes and Noble, look through the magazines, photography magazines, interior design magazines, and just look at the style of the work and see if I have to tweak anything to the photographs that I'm gonna make for this year going into next year. Like, do I need to switch up on my style or try to integrate some of the more traditional into the style of work that I do? Because a lot of the magazines that I see now, they are not as modern, contemporary as I expected. Not even Home and Garden. Um, they look through my work and the ones that they like the best, like I'll show you guys what they picked on here. She showed me her favorite one. This was her favorite. And I try to fit the whole thing in the this was her favorite. Like, do you know how old this picture is? I took this photograph, what, 15 years ago? It's dated. It's 2009 in California. But as I'm talking to like curators, this is one of the first ones they go to. And I haven't taken a photograph like this in years. So now I'm thinking my approach um, can be different. And then the other one that she picked out three. Gosh, what was the name of it? There it is. She picked out this one. I captured this photograph in 2008, 2008. And when she contacted me back and I asked her like to give me, I just asked her to, my work is going to be in the in House and Garden magazine. What are some of the prints that you like? So I have a good idea of what, your audience is looking for. She picked out Dreamer Red, the one I just showed with the sailboat. She picked out this one, In the Field, which is from 2008. And the last one that she picked out, this one was, where was I? Oh, I was still in my hometown, Fort Lauderdale, when I took that. I hadn't even moved out of Florida yet. And then the last one she picked out was Golden. And yes, this is again 2009 when I moved to California. And obviously, Florida, we don't have mountains at all. I mean, I moved to California. Well, I moved to California in part to start over because 2008 I started learning about photography, and I needed, just in my personal life, I just needed a fresh start. I moved to the other side of the continent to get that fresh start, and my college roommate drove me out here, and he was from Germany. He came to California from Germany. I came to California from Florida. So when we got to Southern California, we were like, I want to see we want to sightsee. We want to see some stuff. And yeah, I hadn't lived outside of Florida ever. I did visit some other places like Carolina and stuff like that, but like moving away from Florida um, to go to SoCal and then see stuff like this. This was, gosh, what was the name of this place? Trabajo Canyon. I was supposed to put the name. Yeah, but this was Whiting Ranch Wilderness Park, and I mean, I can't lie, it's still one of my favorite landscapes that I've ever captured. Still. But the thing is that I've seen this photograph so many times that it doesn't impact me nearly as much as it did when I first took the photograph. But now I have, you know, other people looking at my work who've never seen my work, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, this one is my favorite." So I'm thinking like they're gonna pick something that's more recent, but they uh they go back to the stuff that's over 15 years ago. Not all the time, but it's often. And then that goes back to the last thing of my most popular image, which is this one. And again, it's lost its impact on me personally, but when people just show up and start going through the work, that's the one. That's the one. And I took this one in 2009 where I used rented studio equipment, um, strobe lights, Yeah. I don't even think the camera was mine. I don't think it was. I think I borrowed like a Canon 40D or something like that, and had to do a project for class. So my first project was this one, and was what, August 2009. So when I wanted to enter into the Spectrum Miami competition, and I could only afford to enter one image, one photograph. So this is the one that I picked. This is the one that won the competition. Actually, you know what? I was shocked that it was one of the three finalists. First of all, um, I was shocked, but but yeah, it was one of the three finalists, and then it won. And then back then, I wasn't even in a position to drive down to Miami and meet everyone that was, looking at the work. So I have to get back to doing that. You know, I do. Um, and then the gallery that hosted the competition, they contacted me again, what, last week or the week before, because now, of course, all these years later, they've really expanded, and they have, uh, let's see, where did I put it? They've really expanded. So now they're in charge of ArtBoxy. I think this is $50 a month. They still have my work posted here, but I'm not active on here. So they've got sell and exhibit. Um, they've got sponsorships. They got partner galleries. The only thing that I don't like is it's digital. Everything's on the, not everything, but a lot of times your work is on the digital screens. And I just think that my work is more, like, much more impactful when people see it in print. So instead of opposed to on the screen. So I'm kind of rolling it over in my mind, like, do I want to invest in it or not? But yeah, now they've expanded it to where you can sell your work directly through your profile. And they didn't up the monthly price, but yeah. So I'm thinking about it. But I have to be really careful though, because as you guys can see, I've upgraded my laptop and now I'm using another camera. I upgraded the audio, which I haven't even learned how to use yet. I got the headset, so now I can sort of record everything, record some things faster. Um, but yeah, I got the mics where I'm going to be able to clip these on and use that for audio. They're just very quiet. I've tested them out and I'm like, I'm going to have to figure out how to boost the sound, the audio volume on it. But it's just a lot of things that I've invested in, and I've spent over what I plan to spend already. So now going through the rest of the year, after upgrading the computer, the audio, paying for the marketing campaign for House and Garden magazine, it's a lot. So yeah, the rest of the year I have to be careful, and I have to monitor the return on investment for the marketing and see how that goes. But in the meantime, I picked out the physical portfolio book that I want to use, and I'm gonna go over that on another episode so that you guys can see what my thought process is. But I have to order that, get more samples of my work to put in it, and then figure out who I want to meet with first to share my work with. And again, I've from the potentials that I've saved up and bookmarked so far, I don't know if my style of work fits. That's been the biggest thing, is that there's a lot of traditional styled work trending. And so when I have a lot of modern contemporary styled work, it doesn't really fit as much as I want it to. So now I'm thinking about my approach as well. But I'm going to take my favorites that I have right now and start there and see how they respond. The main thing is the paper type. You know, do they like the high gloss? Do I need to go back to the Moab luster? Um, do I need to try a different paper type? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I'm going to look into all of that, and I'm going to excuse me, probably record the episode on the physical portfolio covers, because I found three of them that I really like from one company, and they are in London, I think. Um, but they have all the accessories and everything that I'm looking for. So I'm gonna go through that on another episode, probably tomorrow, hopefully, so I can get that recorded and saved, and probably schedule it to go out on Monday, maybe. Um, but yeah, I get that recorded. But other than that, that's what I have, and I've gone much longer than I planned on. But thank you guys for listening, and I will see you next time. Take care.